Time to get you hooked again. Welcome inside another edition of the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. You can find our podcast anywhere you get your podcast, on Apple, Spotify, or YouTube, and you can find us anywhere you want on social media at the Stampede UT. One of the things we always talk about is we want to get your questions. We're going to answer some of your questions this week, so keep sending us those questions because we are starting to get to them. Mack and Vince have some great answers ready to go for some of the questions you guys asked. We're excited about that.
Questions were great.
The questions were great.
They were really good.
It's like you guys know what you're talking about sometimes.
It
It's,
scared me a little
media
bit.
don't, but
when we opened it up, yeah. Now,
all of a
they
sudden,
got
it's
great
like,
questions.
here we come. We're going to recap the NFL draft from every angle, from the Texas side, as well as what's going on a national scale. And on that national scale, we're going to talk about the new possible 5 years to play in NCAA, just a flat deal. We'll get into all that, how that's going to work. But we're taping this on Wednesday, April 29th. And it's pretty cool because today, 20 years ago, Vince Young was drafted number 3 overall by the Tennessee Titans. And there's no better place to start. The crowd goes wild. No better place to start with Vince Young and getting some perspective on what that 2006 draft was like for you. I know it was wild leading up to it. I know it was wild the day of, with all the chatter on the outside and what was going on inside the Titans organization. But from your perspective, when you really just think back to hearing your name called, how special a moment was that?
It was special. I remember sitting in coach's office before we made a decision to go with coach and Miss Sally, and I had my team, and I was like, Coach, we making this decision to take our talents to the NFL, and just wanted to give you a heads up and, be respectful and, say thank you for everything you have done and helped me get to this point. Would never forget it and want to continue to keep our relationship,
And I laid
together.
down on the floor and I cried. No,
Hey.
no.
And he always got his pen, so he threw his pen in the corner. But no, he was great. And him and Miss Sally, I really did appreciate it. And I just wanted to always, whatever you do, and Coach taught us this as players, whatever you do, make sure you be respectful. So that's what I did. I wanted him to know first before he even get into the media because, some way, somehow it always gets out. But I wanted to show that respect to them, Coach Craig Davis and the rest of my team, and let them know. And then we was off and running. So when I heard my name get called, man, it was the dream come true because the people don't understand. Like, a lot of people see me as the athlete, right? But, I always go in details about who I am as a person and how much hard work it took me to get to that point, from the days from Little League football to not having a car, sometimes just jogging to school, to high school, just to get to practice on time, having to do tour days in the morning. And then because we didn't have that type of much money in my household, I had to go to work after practice. And so working at the movie theaters, working at Just for Feet. I don't know if y'all remember Just for Feet back in the day. It's not around no more, but working at the store. So I had to catch the metro all the way to work. But in the same time, like, I'm remembering all these things. And when my name get called, because at first I didn't know where I was going. Because you're already hearing the hoopla and we want Matt Liner and we want this. And it's just so much going on while you're in that green room. But it's always so good to be around your family. My mom was there, Candace was there, my grandmother, she's not here no more, but the people that was always with me, my sisters, my uncle, it was a blessing just to have your family around you. So when your name get called, you just, in tears. And you just always remember that walk up to the commissioner. With that, boy, I'm probably one of the only guys that had number 10 on my jersey at the draft. So Coach Bud Adams knew exactly who he wanted. And from there, you do the interviews, and I'm on a flight. I'm kissing my mom, kissing Candace, and I'm kissing everybody, tell them I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in a little bit. I'm off to work already.
And
As
Vince,
soon
when was this?
Just the night of.
So you accepted the third pick. You hugged the commissioner, and then you hug your family, and Grandma is here. She's
Yeah,
in heaven watching. She'll always have a present.
Yes.
She's sitting on your shoulder and my shoulder.
She's right there chilling.
She is right there being proud of you. But you left and got on a plane and went to Nashville.
Went straight to Nashville that fast. Well,
And
I
what
mean,
you do, like that night, when you get there, what happens?
you do a small media with the local media there in Nashville. Kind of just go through the motion of, okay, this is where you're going to be staying at tonight. This is coach. This is, go through meeting everybody, meeting Floyd Reese, the GM at the time. Um, Bud wasn't there, but I'm talking to him. I got a relationship with Bud because he's a Houston guy and met him plenty of times, but he calls and he talked to you for a while. And then you just get ready for you get your playbook. And then you kind of sit back you go home, go to the hotel and lay down for a second. And then you waking up again and you at it again with media and you go through the training facility. You go to your equipment, go get your helmets, with your size of your helmet, your shoulder pads, find out where your locker is at. Where's the office, the meeting room? Where's, just going through the motions of becoming a pro player. And
So
it's
here
just
we
a lot
go.
of hoopla. It's a lot of love too.
Here
I
we
mean,
go real fast.
it's fast. So I'm pretty sure some of the young guys who got drafted and that I saw some of them on TV, they was flying straight to the team. So I get it. So the one thing is that you still don't have time with yourselves and with your family. So, you get a small break when you go to the hotel, but they are already picking you up early in the morning for a
Well,
full day.
and very emotional. You were taking Steve McNair's place, who is one of the great quarterbacks of all time and your mentor,
Yes.
and that's very uncomfortable. You sure wouldn't have asked for that and didn't want that.
Yeah.
Folks, he had to make a decision. If he comes back, he's probably going to win the Heisman. We're going to win another national championship. He's going to have more fun in college being a kid than he is having to be an adult. So those aren't easy decisions. You think because money, it's an easy decision. It's a really hard decision,
Yeah, it's tough.
and
And I
it's
got
not
thrown into a
something.
situation that my coach didn't even want me there. So,
Yeah,
um, you had the two USC guys, which Coach Norm was awesome. I had a great relationship with him. I wish
as
they
Norm
didn't.
Chow,
Excuse me.
right? Norm Chow, and Norm was the offensive coordinator for Matt Leinart at USC, so he
Correct.
knew Matt. And
Yeah.
Coach
So
Fisher's a USC guy, and Bud Adams that Vince mentioned was the owner,
correct.
and
Floyd Reese was
well,
all about you too.
yeah,
Yeah,
So
Floyd
there's
was
a
big
weird
on me as
it's a
well.
really weird division there. When you think about owner and GM want this guy, coaching staff probably wants Matt Leinart because they know him. They've coached Norm's coached with him.
Yeah.
It's a very interesting situation you go into, and you would figure year one, let's let Kerry Collins can be the quarterback and you can learn. At the time, there weren't a whole lot of rookie quarterbacks that had just come in and started.
Right.
And then here you are that come in and you eventually start and you win Rookie of the Year and you guys go 8-8.
I mean, we
And like,
started off with Billy Volick. So
yeah,
and
that's
then they
true.
traded him to San Diego, I think, and then we brought in Kerry, and Kerry still to this day, we got a great relationship. Him and his family are great people. Um, you had opportunity to learn from him. I really wanted to learn from Steve McNair. I thought it would have been a dream come true because
yeah.
he's my mentor. I've been to his football camps. He's been watching over me since, days at college. So, and then when we hear that news, I'm like, what? I'm sick. So I'm like, okay. So I go in kind of like just what do I do? So the main thing is just try to learn as much as you can. And then any questions you have, I call Steve and like, hey, what I do about this, what I do about that. It was easy to a way, but I felt like it could have been more better if Steve was there to help me out. But I ended up building a great relationship with Kerry Collins, and I did have a good relationship with Coach Johnson because of he had a great relationship with Steve, our quarterback coach, and I used to meet him always at the football camp. So he came in and did a great job of helping me, maneuver through that first year. But it was tough sitting back watching because being a winner all my life in middle school, high school, just playing, being a starter. So I could give Coach Brown always a thanks. When I came in my first year, I redshirted and I wanted to play so bad, but I also had an opportunity to, learn more, be more mature about it, learn from Chris Sims, learn from Chance Mock, learn how to travel, get ahead in my books. It kind of helped me take a step back. So when Kerry came in, I did the same thing. I kind of just take a step back, paid attention to how he prepped and, got himself ready to play, each week as a pro, and I thought he did a great job of teaching me different things like that, so I can do it whenever the keys was, passed to me to be the starting quarterback.
Do you know, it's with Vince, people ask me all the time, how was it to coach Ricky Williams? How was it to coach Vince? And when we all got on the same page and we trusted each other, it was easy. It was really easy. I mean, Vince never griped a day to me or the coaches or threatened us about transferring or anything with redshirting. Sure, he didn't want to transfer. I mean, he didn't want a redshirt, but he never griped a day. He was in every meeting. He was attentive. He was really planning on getting ready for the next year. And he and Chance Mock got along great. And Chance was a great passer.
Yeah,
I think
great
he had
passer.
17 touchdowns and 1 interception at some point. So he was a great passer, but Chance understood when we made the move to Vince. I'm sure he didn't like it, but he understood that you do whatever helps your team win the games. And that's just what happened. But then some people, I know Troy Aikman really struggled when he got to the NFL, and Peyton Manning really struggled when he got to the NFL. Vince's rookie of the year goes to the Pro Bowl and in the playoffs. And unlike college football right now, where we're getting some teams that are getting heavy money and they're going to be the best teams, NFL is structured so you try to keep it rotating. The worst team gets the best players. So a great player like Vince was going to go to a struggling team. And that's
Yeah.
hard for quarterbacks. It's just
Sure.
it really is when you start looking at it. With Drake May 2 years ago, he was in Vince's position basically. There were 2 or 3 quarterbacks, and he was looking at the Patriots were really struggling. Is it worth it? Do I go there? Well, you don't have any choice.
I have no choice.
So you got to like it. It's like that ugly baby. If it's yours, man, you got to like it because it's you. You don't have any choice. You can't give it away. And that's just the way that system works.
Yeah.
Vince, did it make it any more comforting when you got to Tennessee, knowing everything that was kind of going on behind the scenes? You had a guy like Lindale White. You had some of the rookies that maybe you were able to relate to, have good conversations with. It made the transition at least a little easier.
Yeah, I mean, in a way. I mean, the good part about what my situation was that I was around Steve a lot when he was
Yeah,
playing. So I was going to games and I was meeting Keith Bullock before I even played with Keith Bullock.
yeah.
Haynesworth and Javon Curse. I was around those guys because they was coming to his football camps or his 4th of July gathering that he had at his house. So the guys was always around. So I had an opportunity to build a relationship with some of the captains of their Titan football team at that time. Even Samari Rowe, another great guy, had opportunity. I mean, had a great relationship with. So when it was time for me to play, I was sitting back, just hanging out with the guys. Same thing that I did at Texas. I looked at Corey Redding. We had some great leaders on the team that they made sure you took your butt to class when you was on time to weight room at 2 o'clock, meetings, and we on the football field. When you had those type of leaders, it's the same thing that was happening in Tennessee. I knew that I was the big name guy right now with that they kept messing with me at the big money bonus boy coming in. They messing with you all the time. So you want to make sure that you earn their respect. So every day that I got walked onto the practice facility or whatever it may be, I was trying to earn those guys' respect because I knew in any time I can be at the starting position at any moment. And I wanted them guys just to, let them know that I'm not just a first round draft pick. I really want to win just like you guys. I want to win a Super Bowl like you guys. So I'm going to put in the work behind the scenes, which they saw that I was in mini camps. I was in the weight room with the guys. I was doing everything to show them that I want to be here and I want to be your starting quarterback when it's time, and I want to lead us to some victories. And when that time came, when we was 0-6, and Coach gave me the keys to the car, I made sure we went as 8-0, I think 6-0 or something like that. We was getting our butt whooped, and then we changed that whole season around. So I want them guys to know that I'm here with you guys, even though we are getting our butt whooped right now.
And you had Bo Scaife, you had
Bo
Michael
Scaife,
Griffin, you had
Right.
Armard Hall.
Yeah.
Ahmad
So you had
Hall.
some guys that you knew enough to do that. But I will say this, especially head coach, quarterback, and offensive coordinator quarterback. When you're in a tight game, in a tight spot, you better be all on the same page.
Yeah.
Because if you don't think he's got your back, it is really hard. and there's so much pressure. There's pressure on the play caller. There's pressure on the quarterback. They better be one, and they got to be one mind. And if you don't have that, I remember Ricky telling me, he said, if you don't ever embarrass me in public, we'll be good.
Yeah.
And I thought, you know what? You don't ever embarrass me in public, we'll be good.
Yeah.
So, and so Ricky and I got along great to this day. Same with Vince. That day, Vince said, I don't like you jumping on me. When I said, well, come on, I'm getting on you. I didn't think I jumped on you. I'm getting on you to try to help you. And he understood that. And then we never had another bad word, period,
Again, ever.
to this day. So, except when he talks about his basketball and plays golf, some of those things that his
We're not
memory.
going down that rabbit hole.
His
We're not
memory,
going down that rabbit hole
His memory
today.
is just not as good. But it just said it just didn't get off on the right foot when we don't want you. Oh, well, owner does, so we're going to take you. And then there's a lot of healing that has to happen, and that's tough.
Yeah.
And he's amazing to me that he overcame all of that and handled it as well as he could.
Yeah. It was tough, but a lot of people, I tell, it's like football was my out. Playing the game and being around my brothers, my teammates. I mean, that's what it's about. And then you had some of the coaches on that team that I liked. And it's just the one guy. It's just, I couldn't get through to him because his mind was bigger than what it was all about. Is about us trying to win a Super Bowl, and we almost did. I mean, we got all the way to Baltimore semifinals. I mean, we almost had it, but at the same time, um, with all that stuff going on, like I tell my son and I tell anybody, it's like you can control whatever is happening. The perception, what Mama Sally said, you can change the perception. And that's what I did every day. Even though the media was saying this, I made sure that they ate their words on Sunday. When we come out with a victory, I throw for this. I came out with the victory, did everything I was supposed to do as a quarterback to make them eat their words with the things they were saying about me. Do
Bob was in that group probably that you made eat his words. Hey,
I can't think
no,
of
Bob, my guy. Bob,
come
my
on.
guy.
I can't think of a bad thing I've ever said about Vince Young.
Well, let's think about this
Hey,
too.
let me say this real quick because I think this is kind of a funny part of that. Is we on CBS Austin we had the AFC games was what that's what we aired on CBS Austin, and we were showing the Titans over the Texans, and because of Vince. And I mean, the Texans fans were hating on us, but the ratings were so good for Vince, we couldn't stop doing it. So we always had Vince's back.
Well,
always had Vince's
Let's
back.
think about this, and we can get off of this. How many people out there have been number one draft choices at quarterback? How many people out there have been rookie of the year? How many people out there have been a quarterback that's a number one draft pick that's rookie of the year that's played the Pro Bowl? And how many people out there have taken their team as a rookie to the playoffs? I mean, we check a whole lot of boxes here. So when people come up and said, Rick, Vince just never made it. And I said, excuse me. You're hitting
brakes.
the wrong conversation with me. And I keep my stats in my pocket. Just here.
Right,
Here,
right.
I don't want to discuss. You never want to talk to somebody about something that they know nothing about. And when they're telling me he didn't do well in the pros, they don't know enough for me to discuss it with them. So I'm going to save my air.
Amen to that.
Well, Vince, I appreciate you opening up about a little bit of that stuff. It's obviously a great time of year for the NFL draft. Texas goes into the NFL draft this year. 6 players selected. Anthony Hill, the first one to go later in the second round too. After all this talk, the Tennessee Titans. So Anthony will start his career in Nashville. What did you guys make of the draft? 6 guys drafted, 7 guys signed as free agents. It's obviously not what it has been the last couple of years in terms of numbers, but I think there are some reasons for that too.
Vince?
Yeah, I just really feel like the 2 top guys has been at Texas full-time, didn't transfer in. So that they have that for themselves, and they develop really well with Malik and Hills. A lot of the other guys, they transferred over, right? So you got a lot of like a kind of inconsistency of trying to find out and know what type of player you have. So, but me, I had an opportunity to be around those guys. So Bert, that is a great team for him to go to. I think that's one of the best places he could end up as a defensive end, and the type of defense they play. Um, even our receiver, tight end, going to
Jack Andrews. Yeah.
Cincinnati.
Yeah.
They always got good tight ends out there. So he get the developer under there. I think that everything that happened with our guys this year is a great example about how you can earn something, even though your name is not blasted over like everybody else that was in the top in the first round. But I really feel like a lot of our guys went to some really good teams and they can play right away because of the type of person they are and the way they carry themselves. I feel like they can play right away, especially Michael Tabb. That's awesome for him to get down there with his brother, his roommate, and go to Miami and try to do something different out there. And I think Jones is out there, right? One of the DBs.
Brandon's
Jones.
actually
Yeah.
Brandon's actually in Denver now, but he's it's Quinn, Michael Taff, Trey Moore's drafted, and DJ Campbell also drafted. So there are 4 Longhorns that are going to be in Miami. Yeah.
So I think all guys went to somewhere that they will be needed to play. So, and I'm just happy to see it, even though it's not the first round or whatever, but they got opportunity and they can honestly say they could be proud of themselves for working their butt off to get to where they at. And Coach Stark's doing the things he done to help those kids.
Well, and you think Steve's had 23 draft choices the last 2 years. So he's lost a lot of great players, and the great players are usually the best leaders because they've got more attention from the team than anybody else, and they work the hardest, and they've got more to prove. And this draft didn't have as many.
Yeah.
So when you look at the number one draft choices, there's not one. Does that mean you win? You win 10 instead of 13. I mean, that's where you get. We used to recruit and say, can this guy be a first or second round draft choice? On the recruiting board out of high school, can this guy be a really good pro football player, which would be the 3rd round through free agency? Will he make a pro team? And then we'd say, would this guy be a really good college football player? And then we'd have a bucket of projections. Is he talented enough and there's something missing? Do we take a chance? And then understanding that this is a risk. We're rolling the dice here a little bit. And as you look at this, I think it was a draft that so many of their great players are younger. Next year's draft should be stronger than this year's draft.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why you should have a better team. When your great players line up with your great leaders, it's when you have the best team, period. It's just that way. And you can have some miracle teams that a ball bounces right or something, but not very often. Usually the best team wins.
Yeah.
And I thought this was important. And the punter and the kicker didn't get drafted. Justin Tucker is one of the best ever, maybe the best ever. He didn't get drafted.
Yeah.
So when you start looking at that, those guys are going to have to go earn their right and get on a team somewhere. But I mean, Vince said it. Ethan Burke's really a good football player.
He is.
So because these guys aren't drafted doesn't mean that they're not really good football players. And very honestly, if you're in the 3rd round down to a free agent, they have to make the team. All of them. That's it. So there's no guarantees past 2nd round.
And I mean, I guarantee you Ethan's going to carry that ship, not just from not getting drafted, but from not getting invited to the combine when some other guys did. I mean, he's such a good person, and he's got a good career ahead of him for sure.
That chip is really a good thing,
right? Yeah.
Yeah. You get up mad every morning, got an edge. That's a motivator.
That's
And you had to be pretty
motivation. I mean, Travis Shaw, Baltimore, like they all got opportunities in front of them. So, and I'm even Jalen down in Carolina.
Yeah.
They all got a shots, and I feel they're gonna make it because just because of their work ethic. When
and
you're
Vince,
hungry,
and
like you coach said, when you hungry, you're
Yeah.
hungry.
And from my perspective, you had all this weight your whole life, and then all the media and scout and general manager projected drafts talking about all your faults, and you're so tired of hearing that.
Yeah.
And now these guys, okay, know where we are, we know what we've got. Now we got to make a team.
Yeah.
So there's no excuses anymore. All the fluff's gone. All the media stuff's gone.
That's behind you now.
Make the team. It's yours.
It's yours.
So
Go
your
get
whole
it.
life
Go
you
take
dreamed
it.
of having a chance. Now you got a chance. Go make the team.
Go
And
take
I know
it.
that I know there's some people who say, well, they went from 11 players drafted in 24, 12 and 25 to only 6 and 26. Again, we've talked a little bit about some of the reasons: transfer portal, you're a younger team, not as many of your talented guys left. But you start thinking about next year and what's possible. If you think about Arch Manning, Colin Simmons, Trevor Goosby, and Cam Coleman, depending on what kind of year they have, any or all of those guys could end up in the top 10, top 15 of the NFL draft. Everybody is certainly going to put Arch Manning at the top of that board. And I say this maybe with a little bit of a laugh. If he decides to leave, he could come back for another year after next year, but he would be at the top of the draft board no matter what, for good reason. But all four of those guys could be in the top first round, if not, depending on what kind of year they have, not even better next year.
And knowing the Mannings, he could come back.
Sure. Yeah, I mean,
if all of his buddies are here and he thinks you come back too if you think you got a chance to be really good. And I think that's a big part of it. And for a guy like him, he makes enough money in NIL that he doesn't have to make a financial decision. He can make a personal decision. And
and maybe he's just like, I can put off the NFL. I'm okay.
Yeah.
Like, I don't need to do it. I mean, I'm not everybody's dream. Sark had a great comment. He said, we all dream. We're all laying on our bed as kids, throwing the ball up in the air and catching it by ourselves. And we're all dreaming of being an NFL player. When you're 6 years old, you're doing that. So that I know that's the dream, but it's a little different now, I think, and especially with the way the Mannings approach things. If he really wanted to, he could stay.
But with Arch though, he's a Longhorn though. He loves he been wanting to go to Texas all his life. So
Yeah.
if that would be only one thing why he doesn't go to the league. I want another year with my brothers and wear burnt orange because the NFL is not going nowhere.
No.
Yeah.
And another
could be
thing,
dependent on
Vince,
how the year goes, right?
Yeah. If he didn't think he was going to go to the right team, the right coach, the right play caller.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the other.
That's a major factor too.
That's huge.
Yeah.
For a guy who can make a decision like that. He has choices.
And if they were to get to the brink and almost win, or get to the semifinals and almost win, maybe he says, I really want this thing. I want to come. You never know. There are a lot of reasons, a lot of things that could go into a reason. Okay, before we get out of this, I do want to get into one more thing here, because I think it's you look at where some of these guys landed and the situations that they're in. Vince just mentioned this. These guys are going to have a real opportunity here to do some special things. Vince, I mean, you had talked about that a little bit. I mean, what do you mentioned Michael Taft? Is there someone you're most excited about to see what kind of opportunity they get here?
Well, all of Bird is my guy. I can't stop raving this guy's name, him and Mike. But I just like even Matthew Cartwright. Like, that is amazing,
Yeah.
And he came in that one drive and did exactly what a second string quarterback. So you can tell that St. Louis or any other team might saw that, like, wow, for a kid to stand back and be prepared at that moment, and drove the guys down like that. That got himself a pick, because you never see a guy who don't play like he played get drafted, get picked up like that. You don't see that. But in the same time, he did that for himself. But to me, all these guys on this list have a great opportunity. And a lot of these guys, a lot of these teams need exactly who they picked up. And I watch the pros a little bit because I like certain players and things like that. But you go to Baltimore, that's a defensive team. And you got Shaw down there and Burton out there. That is amazing for me to see that, because when I'm on them sidelines, I'm building a relationship with those guys, and I know how hard they work. And for them to get this opportunity for the teams that they're on, they fit just right with these teams. So I'm happy for actually all of them, but I'm gonna keep raving Burton all day.
Of course. You had to be pretty excited for Travis Shaw, a guy that you coached at North Carolina and then comes to Texas. Now he's got a chance with the Ravens.
Yes,
team.
and Travis had his knee fixed here. He always had a sore knee. Travis could be a superstar. He's always a step away, and we've told him, another chance, Ben.
Yeah.
That he did a great job here.
Great
I
job.
wished he'd had another year here, because he was starting to take over and be dominant in the offensive line. But I also think Anthony Hill's a stud.
Yeah.
That man plays all over the place. You're not going to win unless you got great linebackers. We've got Cedric Gray, a linebacker from North Carolina, as the other linebacker there. So that'll be fun to watch them. But I wanted to make one other point. As a head coach, you either put emphasis on your guys getting with a team or you don't. It's obvious that Sark has relationships with the NFL, because he has a lot of players. It's unbelievable to have 7 free agents. You had to work at that. And those guys, about the 5th round, those agents and scouts start talking to each other about who's going to be a free agent. A lot of guys would rather be a free agent so they can go where they want than be a 7th round pick at a team they don't want to go to. But give Sark credit. I used to get on our assistant coaches and say, you are responsible for your guy getting on a team. And all of those guys, Vince will tell you, every one of those guys are disappointed because some agent told them they were going to make a team. And they're all really disappointed. So it's the coach's responsibility to make sure you're helping him feel good about the opportunities in the next step. And I'm so impressed that Sark does that, because this many guys wouldn't have been on teams without that Texas staff working draft on the phone saying, you got to get my guy. You need a defensive back. I got one right here. You're thin and up front. Take Travis Shaw, man. That's a big body. It's all ahead of him.
Yeah, that's
And
a
the
big guy.
projections of the players that the coaches take after the 2nd round are the reason you have a great draft. Everybody knows who the first 2 are, but who Michael Tapp, if he is a superstar with his team, when you start looking at the Dolphins, they're going to say, he's a 5th rounder. How'd they do that? Well, same thing he did here. Same thing he did here. Nobody gave him a chance. You talk about that chip. Well, Michael going to have that chip.
Oh, yeah.
He going to have it on the 5th round.
And he's never stopped having it.
Going in.
As soon as he walked, as soon as he got there, he going to have that chip.
And you think about there were 13 guys that signed with teams, whether they were drafted or not. So let's talk about in September how many guys make a roster versus how many guys were drafted, because I think that's a very interesting point too. Two very different reactions to close this out. Jack Bomeister, his family dogpiles him when he gets a call from the 49ers that they're going to sign him. The family dogpiles him. Malik Muhammad's family goes nuts, and Malik is so in the moment, can't believe really what's happening, that he's been drafted by the Bears, that he doesn't make his face doesn't move. He just kind of stares, and everybody makes this huge deal out of it. And then he has to release a statement saying, guys, I was just overwhelmed in the moment. And you want to talk about how social media isn't true life. It's not reality. There's a great example of it, is seeing Malik Muhammad, like, I can't believe I was just drafted. And he's just kind of sitting there, and everybody else is going nuts, and everybody's like, what's wrong with Malik? He doesn't want to go to Chicago. It's just unbelievable.
Let's think about this, and Vince can tell you, that family's elated, man. They're excited. Oh, Malik's got to go to work.
Yeah, exactly.
So he's thinking, who's my secondary coach? How do I get to Chicago? Do I want to live there? When do I have to go? What have I got to do? It's like me when they said at the end of the national championship game, you showed no emotion. We were kicking off to Reggie Bush. Of course, I had no emotion. We had 19 seconds left. Then after the game, they said, boy, you just looked like you were kind of staring. I said, yeah, never done this before.
Right.
What you say, man? What you say?
It's
you just
no
got
book-
millions
there's
of
no
people
book in
saying,
it.
okay, here, how's it feel to win a national championship? Well, I'm trying to figure it out right now.
Right? Yeah, I don't know. And I'll always give you a lot of credit. The first thing you did when you walked on that field was Matt Leinart was standing right there, and you went right over to him and shook his hand. And I always thought that was another special part of that too.
Thank you. But it's about young people that you have respect for.
Yeah.
And the game.
And teams and teammates and coaches. And I never, ever was one of those guys that got mad at the other side. I wanted us to be good. I didn't have a chip on my shoulder about them. Yeah. I didn't hate them more than I liked us. I liked us. So I wanted us to be the best. I remember I was so proud of the loss one day, and it was really arrogant. They said, you trying to step with the Joneses? He said, we are the Joneses, man. But I never, I love R.C. Slocum. I can compete. I coached against my brother. I love him too. I wanted to kick his butt.
Yeah.
But and then mother got mad at me because I beat him. I said, Mom, I'm at Tulane. We don't beat anybody either. He's at Vanderbilt. Neither one of us beat anybody. So, and then I walked into his press conference not knowing they took me in the wrong room, and he's sitting there, and I got a cigar because we beat my brother, so that didn't go well. But after 3 months of not speaking, he came around.
That's good. Yeah, that's
mother took longer.
Yeah, 3 months is pretty.
Oh,
pretty
that's
good.
funny. All right, everybody, take a breath. That was a really, really fun first segment. We got into a lot of different things. We still have 2 more segments to go. And when we come back, we're going to talk a little bit about the quarterbacks in this draft. Vince is going to give us a little analysis of some of the guys that were drafted. Fernando Mendoza, #1 overall, going to Las Vegas, a place that Maybe his personality doesn't seem to fit, but maybe that's perfect for Vegas. So we'll get
Right.
into all that when we come back.
Diego Pavia.
Diego Pavia's found a team. We're going to get into everything when we come back. This is the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We're back after this.
Texas has some of the highest property taxes in the country. And if you're a property owner like we are, you know it hits harder than a blindside sack. That's why every winning season starts with the right playbook. When it comes to lowering your property taxes, Texas Pro Tax has been calling winning plays for 38 seasons. They're the #1 defense against soaring tax bills, the kind of defense that stuffs rising values at the line and sends them back to the locker room.
Do your homework before you just let any firm suit up for you. I've looked at the stats, and Texas Pro Tax doesn't just win, they dominate.
We're talking big gains, deep passes, and the kind of tax-saving drives that make your wallet do a victory dance. While the other firms are warming the bench, Texas Pro Tax is driving the field, breaking tackles, and putting up game-changing Texas-sized tax savings.
Stampede listeners, your minimum fee is waived. No flags, no fumbles.
Visit TexasProTax.com, sign up and enter code STAMPEDE to join the winning team, and finally put your property taxes on the bench.
All right, welcome back to the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. It is time for our segment, Texas Pro Tax Pros. When it comes to lowering your property taxes, Texas Pro Tax has been calling winning plays for 38 seasons. And as a Stampede listener, when you sign up at TexasProTax.com, your minimum fee will be waived. Just visit TexasProTax.com and enter the code STAMPEDE to join the winning team and put your property taxes on the bench. The NFL draft concluded over the weekend. Bunch of quarterbacks get taken, and #1 overall, Fernando Mendoza, the Heisman winning trophy, national champion winning trophy quarterback out of Indiana. And Vince, let's start with Fernando. I want to dive into some of these quarterbacks. What an interesting situation for him, for a guy that seems, Jack Indries talked about how he was always in the library when he was his roommate and when they were at Cal together. And he just kind of seems very polite, very good guy, going to a place called Sin City. It's two very polar opposites. Do you think maybe that helps him? Maybe that's why it works for Fernando when he gets to Vegas?
Well, I mean, it's definitely gonna work for him because me, when I go to Vegas now, I don't even go to the strip anymore. Like I'm over like playing golf, staying like far,
Yeah.
far away, and it's a different world compared to living. I mean, staying on the strip compared to staying off, out in the mountains somewhere, which
Yeah,
is
no doubt.
beautiful. Which I saw a couple of months ago. I went out into the mountains and it was beautiful. Didn't even know that Vegas had all that. But this is showing there's too much partying when I go out there. But for him, I think that's going to be good for him because it's quiet, it's relaxing. They got some of the best beautiful golf courses. And then one of the things that people I haven't seen nobody talked about yet, but you got access to Tom Brady. He's part of that team. I mean, you can call him and help you get through anything kind of similar what I had with Steve McNair.
Yeah.
Helped me get through them first couple of weeks, or months of getting myself acclimated into the system. So he has that, and he has some things that he can do with that. If that was me, I would take advantage of calling Tom and like ask him all kind of questions to help me prep myself for this opportunity that he has. But I really think this is a good team for him because it's like you just said, it's the type of player and the type of kid he is.
And he'll have Kirk Cousins there, guy he can learn from. So, it really is a good growing opportunity for Fernando Mendoza as he heads to Vegas.
Yeah.
Maybe one of the most interesting picks of the first round came with another quarterback with the Los Angeles Rams and Ty Simpson. I think a little unexpected there. What do you make of a team that goes and gets a rookie? Obviously, they've got Matt Stafford. Who knows how long Matt Stafford's career is going to last, in the NFL. But it gives Ty Simpson, kind of like what Jordan Love did with Green Bay, going, backing up Aaron Rodgers. Pretty good opportunity for Ty to learn from a Hall of Famer in Matt Stafford and continue to grow in a great organization under a guy like Sean McVay.
Yeah, Sean McVay knows what he's doing with that quarterback position.
Yeah.
I had opportunity to meet him a couple times, and I'm just very impressed of his play calling, the way he developed coaches. He knew what he wanted when he went and got Stafford. He know the type of quarterback that he is. He's a smart quarterback. He makes really good decisions. He don't make a lot of bad decisions. And the way that they chemistry is, the way he developed him, I feel like he could do the same thing with Ty, because Ty is a quarterback that's shown that he can play. He can play on the next level. He can sit in the pocket and make the throws, the deep throws down the field, the short throws. He can check plays, get guys in better positions. So with that, under knowing that you can go underneath Sean McVay and a Super Bowl quarterback, and you can develop in a special way. And he don't have to rush it because you still Stafford probably got another 2, 3 more years in him. So you got an opportunity to learn underneath a really good system. And like we've been saying on the show all the time, make sure you're a quarterback that's going to go somewhere that you can be developed as a quarterback. And
Right.
they hit home with that pick with Ty, because he's a quarterback that's going to make it's gonna be a quarterback that a name that we're gonna be saying in a couple of years for sure.
Couple other names that I thought were interesting picks, at least if nothing else. Some guys that were maybe Heisman candidates at one point: Drew Aller at Penn State, Cade Klubnik at Clemson, Garrett Nussmeier at LSU. They fell in the draft. Cade obviously being an Austin kid, what he did at Westlake. Um, what are your thoughts on maybe some of those type of guys who maybe fell a little bit in the draft, but still have a pretty good opportunity? I know you're pretty high on Cade too.
Yeah, Cade is. I'm impressed with him because he's just a kid that is, man, just been through it down there at
Yeah,
Clemson. And I
yeah.
was shocked a lot about what happened with him, but um, I really feel like that made him a tougher quarterback as the season went on, and then getting prepared for this draft. I really feel like that's what type of quarterback that the Jets need, is a guy that got thick skin, because playing down there in New York for the JETS team is not easy.
Yeah.
But I really like that Glenn is really getting the players that he want there. He's a guy that played the game as doing some things that he get all the players he want there, and then he could really start showcasing the talent and bringing in Cade. I think is going to be one of those guys that's going to show him that he can be a starting quarterback out there, because of the fact he's a kid that's shown it. And then with Nussmeier, I like that kid. He's a big kid. You can go down there with Andy Reid and develop as a quarterback as well. Y'all saw um, our guy that was at Texas.
Shane Buechele.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. He went down there and developed. Now he's doing good. Now he's, I think, with Buffalo,
yeah.
with Allen. So I really feel like these guys, as well as my guy Tyler Green, going to Cleveland, they all got good shots because they earned it and worked for it in the offseason. So whatever they did when they was going to meet with teams and work out for teams, they really showcased their talent, especially for Cade to go get picked to go for the Jets. He has a great opportunity there, as well as Tyler Green as well. So I'm
Yeah,
I'm
yeah.
pretty impressed with these guys.
I was gonna say, you mentioned Taylor Green. I think that's a really interesting point because he was at Arkansas. He was the guy that wore the number 10, kind of ran like a deer, like you did. What advice can you give him?
Yeah, I mean, he just been through a lot, and like, he was at Boise State before he made the
Yeah,
transfer over. So I just told him, man, just make sure you got your foundation right. Make sure you got the right people around you, so you can be able to focus on making that team, even if it's the practice squad. At least you get to be on a team that bring your dreams come true, because the work that he put in to get to where he's at, I'm tremendous proud of him. So I just told him to put his head down. You just took a deep breath, relax for a second for a couple of days. But as soon as you walk into that organization, to that facility, let's go to work. Let's show your talent. And you not only playing for Cleveland right now, you're setting up film work for other teams that if you do get cut, at least you got some film work to show another team that you could play on this next level. So do your best to develop as a quarterback better and better as you can. So
I
that's what
like that you say that because Cleveland's got about 15 quarterbacks, so you never know how that
exactly.
situation is going to turn
And a
itself out.
walk on.
Hey, one more before we go. What do you make of the whole Diego Pavia situation? He finishes second in the Heisman Trophy race, then he's not drafted. He does sign a free agent
Yeah.
opportunity with the Ravens. What's your take on Diego? What kind of advice could you give him right now?
But just stay humble as you can, man. I mean, one thing about that NFL logo, they don't deal with that n- that that energy, negative energy.
Yeah.
So try your best, like I said earlier, when Coach Sally, and she told me some things when I was going through my situation. She said, change the perception. So right now, that's what he has to do, is change the perception. The last little hiccups that he had before The draft came. Now you
Yeah.
got to fix it. You got to have that meeting with your family. You got to tell your brother to calm down. You got to do whatever it takes because this is not about. You got to make sure the people around you understand this is not about y'all. This is about me right now, and I need to change the perception. If I need to dismiss myself for you guys for a little bit, and I really feel like he in a great opportunity in Baltimore. You got Lamar Jackson down there. You
Yeah.
can go ask him so many questions and piggyback anything because he went through all the scrutiny too, and now he changed his perception to an MVP quarterback, almost about to win a Super Bowl. He's right there. So you got a guy that's going to help mentor you because he went through the same situation and he fought out of the adversity. So now he can help you, change the perception that the whole world has about you, and you can do better. And you got the right person with Lamar Jackson right there to ask questions too.
That's great stuff, Vince. I love that advice. If anybody can talk quarterbacks, I think you can. As always,
Okay.
hey, win big savings on your property taxes with Texas Pro Tax Pros. Sign up and use code STAMPEDE at texasprotax.com. All right, final segment of the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. As always, you can get this podcast anywhere you get your podcasts, on Apple, Spotify, or you could watch us on YouTube. You can always hit us up on social media at the Stampede UT, and I encourage you to hit us up anywhere you find us on social media, because we're going to take some questions here in just a minute for Mack and Vince, and then both you guys are going to give us some great answers on some of the stuff our viewers want to hear about. We will get to y'all in just a minute, but first we do want to get into some of the serious stuff that's going on in the NCAA right now. Probably nothing more serious than what's going on out in Lubbock with Texas Tech quarterback Brandon Sorsby. He's under investigation for making thousands of online bets via a gambling app. He's gone into a treatment facility to help with his gambling addiction. The NCAA is investigating this. Who knows where his eligibility is going to go from here? It's one of the more interesting cases that we've seen in a while. But again, I think we've talked a lot about how this is probably not all that surprising that it's happened to someone, because we see gambling ads everywhere now. It's all over the place, on whether it's the NCAA or NFL or NBA or MLB, whatever it is. Gambling has become a very big source for advertising revenue. So all these people are putting it out there, and now we're seeing some of the results, which it's very easy to get addicted to gambling. I wanted to get your guys' take on just the gambling issue right now, where it stands in college football. Vince, I can't imagine, as a college kid, as a college quarterback, maybe whether it's you're betting on your team or not, once you get into this, it's hard to get out of it.
Yeah, I think it's downright awful that our world and our game has came to this. And it's not just this, it's social media. I mean, it's to a point like it's an addiction. And for our young people to get involved with gambling at this age, um, and like you said, for a kid to already be going to therapy for gambling already, which it should be something total opposite. Instead of gambling, it can be probably going through something in life, and it's better. I recommend that for mental health, but for a kid that age already making decisions like that to be a part of the world, one in the world that you pretty much don't win. Some people win, and that's the people that they good at it and they've been playing it for years. But to see that you're gambling on our game at a young age and knowing how big it can be to a distraction of something to a point of your character, who you are. So it's bad because I mean sometimes the kids are. I mean they can't take their eyes off of it. They don't know. They brain is not fully developed yet to understand what they really doing. I mean, it's just really sick that you got to see this, and I just pray that a lot of these younger people who are doing it or involved with it, they they seeking help, and they need to get around somebody that can help them stay away from that because that's not something I recommend for any young player, even my own at home. Because right now he's addicted to social media, so we have to control that now. So,
I mean, that's what I was
um,
going to say, Vince. Like, iPhones and social media are addicting enough, right?
right, it's
I mean, their
already.
kids are on their phone all the time,
Yeah, it's
and then you throw
already
in this.
addictive, so now
Yeah.
we gotta control it as a
Here, let me
parent,
check.
and for us to be talking about it, that it's a major problem, it's gonna take everyone to do something to help with this problem because we don't want a lot of our younger generation get involved with that like that, betting and thinking it's okay.
we were talking beforehand about how you don't win. It's very rare to win at gambling. It's almost more, you have to almost think about it like, I'm gonna give my money away. Am I gonna go to McDonald's and lose $8, or am I gonna, Perry's Steakhouse and lose 150 or whatever the number is? But it's not a you're not winning. It's not like you don't. Most people don't go gamble and then they win a bunch of money. It's very hard to win money when you gamble. I know you have another perspective on this in terms of competitiveness.
Yeah, coaches and players are very competitive, and that's a nicer way to say could be addicted.
Yep.
Because
Addicted to winning. You guys
addicted
love to win.
You love the challenge. You love the risk. I mean, I think that's why I like golf so much. I can't beat it. Every day I want to try to beat it. I hit this. If I'll just do those things more, I'll get there and I'll do it. And you're chasing perfect and you don't get it. And same thing with gambling. You win once and all of a sudden, but we're seeing our superstars on TV that we've idolized our whole lives saying, if you'll take $5, I can get you 500. That sounds good. I like that. Plus the challenge of doing it. So I really feel sorry for young Sorsby. I'm not the one that's mad at him and all that, because Vince and I've been around this so long.
Yeah.
These are nice young people that are trying to do right, and he messed up. Regardless of whether it was a bet on how many yards somebody was going to make, or whether he just bet on his team to win as a redshirt freshman quarterback and he didn't think anybody cared. And when you do have addiction to stuff, you don't really think about getting caught.
Right.
That's the other thing. And I saw a study where Stanford had some students not get off social media for 30 days, and they were happier, they were less depressed, their grades were better. Cooper told us Arch gave up social media for Lent. He told me he's so much happier. And I can see that. You don't have to put up with people saying things that are so nice that probably aren't true, but you sure don't have to put up with people saying things that were so horrible that definitely aren't true.
Right.
And it just is a distraction on your mind. Mike D'Antoni, the NBA basketball coach, is my neighbor, and he's been out 4 years. And he said, yeah, every year you'll get a little bit further away from that phone. He said, coaches get addicted because you got assistants calling you, got high school coaches calling you, got alumni calling you, got letterman calling you, you've got players calling you, got parents calling you, got agents calling you. So, and I had a rule that they had to get back with me within 12 minutes. Because to me, if you don't respond, it's not respectful. Was that an addiction? Probably to me, because most people, Sally won't even pick it up. I think she's dead before I get home. And I said, why didn't you pick up your phone? She said, why do I carry my phone around? I mean, so I do think it's this isn't the only case. There's a whole lot of scared coaches and young people and parents today. But parents, you better talk to your kids, because this is an issue, and it's a bad issue. And it's not that they're bad kids. I hate this for Joey McGuire. I hate it for Sorsby. I hate it for college football. And maybe it's a wake-up call.
Yeah.
Maybe it's just a wake-up call that I've done things I shouldn't have done. I've taken risks I shouldn't have taken. I drive too fast sometimes. I mean, I'll do those things because it's my personality, and I have to really then back. I mean, I get so I didn't scream anymore, because when I scream, I say things I don't mean.
Yeah.
So I had to shut up. So I got really quiet when I was in a bad place, because it wasn't going to end well, because I've got a really bad temper, and nobody knows that because I kept my mouth shut. But I do, and I learned it. And you say hurtful things that you can't get back, and you don't even really mean them. You're just mad, and you're going to say something. And that's where we are with this stuff. And it's really scary. I saw some basketball players now are being investigated, or they've already caught them in different schools. So we're at a place where there's agents. We're at a place where you've got too much money in college football. You got a place where some of the group of six don't have enough money, and they're mad because they're not getting NIL, so they're taking risks to get more money. So it's a really, really difficult and delicate time for these young people. And Vince just said it. I'm more worried about mental health than anything else. I'm really afraid we're going to see people hurt themselves and take their lives if we don't get involved here quickly and start helping take some of this pressure off. There's a tremendous way. You just think of the pressure we just talked about earlier in the show with Vince. Just that day.
Right.
That day is pressure. And then after that's pressure. and all of a sudden if gambling on a game makes me feel better, gives me something to do, takes my mind off reality, then I think it's okay, because in my world it's okay. And then all of a sudden, this poor kid's got publicity all over the country, all over the world about his addiction. His addiction. He's going into addiction. Poor Joey McGuire sitting there thinking, God, I should have known. What could we have done? And then people will say, well, he did know. Well, probably didn't know, he wouldn't have taken him. I mean, just
And
facts.
that's just,
Again, as you
and
get
that's
it,
not
but
the
it's
message. That's not the message that we
no,
want to give to our players, our young people. We want them to know that we are here to help them, whatever situation may be. So we have to do, like Coach said, we have to get in front of that faster, because I see it with my own kid
yep,
with social media. So we have to get ahead of that. And like Coach has said, parents, we have to do a better job. We just got to do a better job controlling that and understanding what they're reading and what they're doing. So we just got to do better as parents. And if you need help, we got coaches, you got things out there that can help that young man or young lady. Just make sure that you're there to help them, and that's what having dinner at night with your kids. A lot of people don't do that no more. They come home from school and they come home from work and everybody go their own ways. But what we used to do was have dinner and sit there and talk as a family, laugh, and how was your day, and how do you feel about social media? You got to talk about the issues. Don't just let the issues just keep, going and going. So one thing that I feel is everybody's kind of letting this stuff go and just kind of brushing it underneath the rug. But now you got these kids; these are babies dealing with the whole world after them about a push of a button that he made a bad mistake, and that's not a bad kid, like Coach said. He just made a mistake, and we got to be there to help him and guide him and get him through that.
And
yeah.
and Sorsby is the poster child this week for gambling because of this. He's not the first that has gone through this. He won't be the last that goes through this. There are other NCAA investigations going on to other things, and so I hate that for him, that he has to be the guy that's kind of in the spotlight right now. But hopefully that's a message to some of the other kids. I do want to ask you this before we get into a couple of things in the NCAA. And I want to give our producer Steve a little hard time for this. He gives us some great notes and great questions every week. But he said, "How do we get the toothpaste back in the tube?" And all I could think was, no, it's not toothpaste back in the tube. It's BB's back in the box. That's what we say around here. So toothpaste back in the tube,
But
or
yes.
BB's back in the
Yeah.
box. But how do we do that right now? How do we? What's the step that, whether it's coaches or personnel or administration or schools or parents or everybody, like how do we stop this? How do we get it back to a better place?
Well, a lot of it's got to be better education by the coaches to the parents through compliance. We got to tell them these young people are going to get caught. They're on apps that they can be traced so easily.
Mhm.
They can track gambling easier than anything else in the world. I think we've got to support young Sorsby and try to help him, but his message needs to be to help others. So every coach in America today is meeting with his team saying, did you read this?
Yeah.
Have you seen this? If you are, quit. And again, then you get into the tough part as a coach. Do you say, if you have, come and talk to me? And then if he does, you got to turn him over to the NCAA, and then he's ineligible. So it's a really, really difficult thing. But I think Vince said it best. We've got to do a better job of parents of explaining it. I picked games last year with my 15-year-old grandson, and I quit doing that. We just picked. We didn't put any money on it, obviously, or anything like that. But parents have to tell their kids there's certain things you can't do. And I always said, we don't have rules, we have standards. Our standard is you don't do anything that's illegal, period. And when they said you're not inappropriate with women, I didn't want to say you weren't inappropriate with women. Everybody knows that. That's a standard. I wanted to recruit people that were raised that weren't inappropriate to women. Don't use drugs. You know that.
Right.
We don't have to have a sign up that says don't use drugs. That's a standard. Standards, you don't break a law. This is breaking the law. This is breaking NCAA rules, and I didn't make the rules. But if you want to play, you can't do this. So you make the choice.
Yeah.
And if your addiction is such that you can't control it enough to play, then you just won't play. But that's a choice you made. And we've got to help these young people make sure they understand the consequences, because in modern day society, a lot of times the consequences don't fit the concerns, and they keep doing it. They keep doing it.
Yeah.
You're going to, we talked about tampering. You got to have consequences.
Yep.
Same thing Steve was talking about. Toothpaste is out of the tube. It's out of the tube on tampering. Nothing's been done. Nothing's been done.
Literally nothing.
With tampering.
Yeah.
Not one thing. We're going to be kicking it off here pretty soon. That old linebacker at Ole Miss is going to be running down there tackling people.
Dabo won't be happy.
No, but I do think sometimes it takes a huge splash, a huge crisis to get our attention. This is sad for this young man, who I've been told is a really good young man. He's obviously a great quarterback, and this changes the course of his life.
Yeah.
So I think that's where we are, and parents, don't think that yours aren't doing it. Don't think they haven't thought about it, and don't think that it hadn't been brought up to them.
Yeah.
And people aren't reaching out to them, trying to get them to it. They'll never catch you. It's not really gambling. It's just a little money. Yeah, well, then that little money becomes bigger, and like you said, it comes bigger. And
You win one bet at a small amount, then you think, well, if I just bet more money, I would have won more money. And then you think about what they're getting in NIL, it increases it exponentially because of how much money they're getting with NIL.
Well, my dad said, somebody's paying for all those lights in Vegas. I don't want it to be you.
Yep.
And that was it.
That's a great way to put it.
But
Totally is.
it's we've got a world that's running fast right now, and we just got to slow down, and we got to make sure that we're doing if you always do what you know is the right thing to do. And young people out there and parents, if you want to gamble, because I'd probably love it. I'd be all over it with my personality. But if you want to gamble, talk about it. Get some help. Slow it down. Fill that box with some other energy from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Don't go there, because it's not going to be good.
I worked it for your whole career. You worked your
No.
butt off to get here, and then
Right.
you made that one decision. So
Now, this young man probably thinks he didn't do anything. I just bet on a couple of little things,
Right.
and if I bet on how many yards he's going to throw far, that's not really gambling. That's just kind of choosing.
Yeah.
So it's I feel bad for him, and I feel bad for Tech. I really do.
And it is a microcosm for life, Vince, to what you just said. You make one decision, it can change everything. That goes for everything you do. It's a really good lesson in, maybe this is something small, and let's say he lost $1,000 and that was it. That's a very small lesson for something that could go on bigger in his life, with other decisions that you can make. So I know this is, it's a very serious topic right now in the NCAA, and I think the way you guys approach it is fantastic.
Well, Bob, and as a coach, you wanted to do what was best for your player, but you also want to take up for the player.
Yeah.
While people are jumping all over this guy.
yeah,
Right.
people
If this
easy
is
to do that.
Vince, I love this kid. Maybe I messed up. Maybe we didn't get him enough training. Maybe I should have said more about gambling. Maybe I should have put up examples of other guys.
Yeah.
So that's what Joey McGuire's doing right now. He's hating that it just didn't get there. It's what Scott Satterfield's doing, and they're saying, God, maybe we didn't give it enough. We got to go back and make sure that we're addressing this properly and do it. And then Sorsby he could have been he would have been a top draft choice if he'd gone out early with the quarterbacks this year.
Yeah. So
here he is going from top draft choice to probably being ineligible, and being known for this for the rest of his life. So it's really a sad moment for him.
hopefully he finds a way to overcome it. I think that's what we all
He
want.
will.
Is we, I mean,
He
you're
will.
right, Vince. I mean, that's
He will.
that's what we all want for people. We all want, when you make mistakes, you want to come out of it better and a better person.
Yeah, you take negatives, turn them into positives.
Yeah,
And,
sure.
and that's what all of college sports needs to do with this, is this is a big negative. So do we need to make the rules tougher and more out there? And is it something that you need to, we address concussions before the season. Do we need to address gambling?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Needs to be
mean,
a
here we
major
are.
good topic.
It's a major topic.
One of the other major NCAA topics, real quick before we get to the questions, because I do want to get through this real quick, is the 5 for 5. I know you're an advocate of it. Of you get 5 years to play 5 seasons. If you have a injury, or if you redshirt, or if you transfer, all those things, you got 5 years. Do you like the idea and where it's going?
I do. Chuck Ninus, we just lost, and he was a genius in all the rules and direction of TV and college football. And he had the CFA, which is the College Football Association. It brought in presidents and athletics directors and faculty reps and coaches and ADs, and it brought everybody in a room, and everybody made decisions based on this. We voted for this 30, 40 years ago and said it made so much sense. It just takes all the decision making out of those committees with the NCAA. And I do think they're smart. 5 years from the day you graduate from high school, or 5 years from 19, and then you don't have a Chris Winkie that's 28 years old coming back and playing in college football against 17 and 18-year-olds. It's just I think it's too simple. It's too easy. It just makes sense. And then you can have military exception. You can have religious exception for the Brigham Young going on a mission, but you're not going to have all these appeals.
We talk about smart and common sense.
Yeah,
there it is.
Yeah, smart and common sense.
And common sense. We found it. Okay, let's get to some viewer questions because I think this is something we've been wanting to do for a while. We've asked you to go to @TheStampedeUT on social media and submit your questions, and we're going to take a few right now before we get out of this one. So let's start with VY from Mauricio Trejo Jr. on Facebook. Do you recall the exact year you felt like you had arrived as Texas quarterback?
Thank you, Mauricio. Great question. When I arrived at Texas, how did I feel? That's the question.
Like at what point when you were at Texas were you like, I've arrived, I'm the guy, I am the Texas quarterback, it's me?
Oh man, I think the year, the year that we came, like after the Rose Bowl year, I think kind of like how Art's feeling right now.
The Michigan year.
Yeah, the Michigan year. I think when we finished that and I said we be back, I felt like that off season, I knew that I was the guy. And when Coach Davis came in and said, no, actually in the spring, Coach let me run the offense. Like I looked at him like, did he have too much caffeine today or something going on?
Ice cream.
When he said, Vince, I'm giving you 5 plays, go. And I was like, wow, Coach has more confidence in me now. He's letting me run the show, let me call my own plays. And I just felt like it was my team and it was at my time. I felt like I was the quarterback and all I had to do was continue to do what I was doing. So I feel like that right after we beat Michigan that spring, when Coach put more on my plate as a quarterback and as a leader, I knew I was the quarterback at University of Texas.
And Mauricio, I thought it was 4th and 18 at Kansas because he kept my job and got us in the Rose Bowl, and being down 35-7 against Oklahoma State and coming back and winning. That's when I said, "Doop, doop,
we're good.
Check those boxes. We're good.
Great question, Marcy.
We're good."
Mack would go mid-season 04. Vince would say after 04.
Yeah.
I like that. Coach, this one's for you from @TexasHornsFans on Instagram. When did you feel the most pressured? This is a great question because I thought of 2 different ones. When did you feel the most pressure during your time at Texas, and how did you navigate it? Because it's really interesting because you kind of hit the highest of the highs and some of the low points of your career too. Which one did you feel more pressure?
Great question.
Yeah, it's a great question. It's probably 3 or 4 times I felt pressure the year that we struggled but won to get to Michigan because I was tired of us not winning all the games. And then that year pretty much said, we're here.
Yeah.
I knew we were in the neighborhood, but I was tired of, and everybody says you can't win the big one. Well, that means there's one you can't win. So everybody else can't win a big one either. There's just one winning that big one, by the way, for you that are asking. I felt pressure. Sally and I were talking about this last night when I saw the question. She thought it would be after the national championship game to do it again. Well, if Vince had stayed, it would have absolutely been that way. But Colt was a freshman and redshirt freshman, so we're kind of starting over.
Yeah.
But I felt pressure. I was so disappointed in the Tech game because I thought we could win the national championship that year in 08.
Yeah.
And I felt a lot of pressure for us to get there. And then we kind of lost it, and then we got back and beat Ohio State in the Fiesta Bowl. So I felt like we got it back. And then I felt pressure. I think to win the national championship, I wanted us to beat Alabama so bad.
Yeah.
Because that was such a great 2 years, like Vince's 2 years. And back to back, that team should have won or could have easily won a national championship. And I felt when you don't do that and you've got the players to do it, you feel like you let them down. So I think those are the moments. Going to Tech, we shouldn't have lost to Tech. Now, you should never lose to anybody. But we shouldn't have lost that game, and when we did, it screwed everything up.
I wondered if you felt more pressure after 2010, just because it was a situation you hadn't been in at Texas. That it was very, very new after 12 consecutive years of just great football, and then you have a down year. How much pressure you felt like the world's coming to an end because of everything you're hearing on the outside noise and then everything on the inside. I kind of wondered if that was a
Bob,
pressure-filled moment.
That's
too.
a great question, and this will sound like an excuse. It's not.
No,
right
no.
right after the game with Alabama, my mother died, and within 7 to 8 days, Sally's mother died. And we were expecting my mother to die. We weren't expecting Sally's mother to die, so we lost too much. During the season the next year, Sally's brother died at 49 years old. She missed one game, I think, and that was the Nebraska game on the road that we won. But that's because her brother died on Friday. So we had an awful year off the field, and I think the Colt getting hurt, the disappointment of losing that game, and then all of that stuff being piled on, I just didn't do a good job looking back, and I can't remember what I didn't do, but I'm sure I was trying to juggle a whole lot of stuff, and I think that year has to be on me because that's the only really bad year we had. And then after that, we had quarterback trouble. David Ash gets hurt. Case comes in. He got hurt some. I mean, it was just the 4 running backs that got hurt. Missouri, 2 of them go down, and it
Malcolm
just,
Brown, Joe Bergeron, Jonathan Gray. It was all
Fozzie.
Fozzie
Blew his knee out that day too on that sorry
Jerry, I
turf.
think
You should have put more money
like
in
you're
their facilities.
Blaming me, like I never.
You could have stepped up. But I do think that it's a great question. But those are the things you remember over the 16 years. It's interesting. I was with a bunch of coaches yesterday at that Peach Bowl Golf Classic, and all of them said you remember a great golf shot, but you remember every loss that was you had because it was a bad loss, and that's what coaches do. You live with the losses. You don't remember the wins near as much.
Yeah, no doubt. Henry Josie also blew his knee out in that game, which is crazy.
They were all gone.
It was
really bad. They were all down, and then we were trying to be positive, and media got mad at me saying I covered up. We couldn't.
We
didn't
never. First of all, we would never get mad at you.
Now we're lying.
See, Vince,
now we've crossed
see
the
what
line.
I deal with, Vince.
But I remember we didn't know whether Bergeron was going to play on Thursday or not. I said we didn't know, and then he didn't play.
Yeah.
I mean, you just don't know sometimes.
Yeah. He was on the bike. I think Malcolm was on the bike on the sideline.
Yeah.
Joe was on the bike.
Fozzie's on the ice.
And then Fozzie got hurt. And Jeremy Hills took over.
Jeremy Hills too.
Okay, this is for both of you guys. We could go down rabbit holes, couldn't we? Like every game, we could go through like different scenarios. Okay, from T Banda on Instagram. This is actually a great, just kind of general question for both you guys. What other podcasts do you listen to? Vince?
T Bandit. What a question.
I saw you on one there.
Yeah, I like Matt Barnes and All Smoke. With Matt Barnes. And,
that's a great one.
Yeah, and my guy
Steven Jackson.
Yeah, Steve Jackson. So I look at that one a lot, and then I'm starting to watch the Lady Longhorns one. I think it's a
Girl Herd.
Girl, yeah. I'm starting to watch them. They are really funny. So to just have a woman perspective, I like seeing that, Longhorn women's out there representing us as well. So I think that's a nice little podcast I've been watching lately. But I mostly just listen to us because when I'm on the road, this one I get a chance to listen to our podcast. And Coach is actually damn funny.
You hear it during it. I like this. Vince goes back and listens, rates and reviews himself.
Yes.
It's like, how did I do on this episode?
I
like
too.
that. Yeah.
I look at all of us and see it's so important for us to get the fans what they need and have some fun.
Yeah, exactly.
And podcasts are so important. I thought you got a woman's perspective the other night at our MJ&M charity because you were sitting with Sally, Candace, and Reba McEntire.
Exactly.
And you were the celebrity she was sucking up to because she was a big fan at the Titans game.
Shout out to Reba.
Shout out to Reba. What a nice
is a
lady.
Titans fan, I tell you, boy. It was good to catch up with her, though. She's awesome.
She's a Titan, too.
I love
she
it.
can do it. They were coming up to give a they were going to give an auction item out. And Reba and Rex Lynn, who we love, Rex is a huge Texas fan, great movie star. And we're sitting there and they're saying, let's say this, let's act like we didn't know what we're doing. I said, wait a minute, let's do it this way. And I'm thinking, it's like all you fans that told me what to do for years. I've got two great entertainers and movie stars here. And I'm saying, no, let me tell you all how to present this on stage. And as they rolled their eyes up, I said, oh, I got it. Let's do what you want.
They like, we got
Do
this,
what you
coach.
want. Yes.
See,
No
at least you
question.
have the perspective now.
Yes.
Of what it seems like. Do you listen to any other podcasts?
I like Marty and McGee,
Mhm.
and I like Triple Option.
Yep.
I like to hear things. I listen to Pat McAfee some. I like to listen to anybody, Colin Cowart, anybody who is relevant.
Josh Pate along those lines. Does a
Josh
great
Pate, I
job.
love.
Yeah.
I had breakfast with him when he
Yeah.
was in town last week, and Joel Klatt.
Yeah,
I
Joel's
think
great.
Joel really gets it.
I do too.
So I like to hear perspectives about what we talk about all the time.
Yeah.
And then what I do is I check my thoughts to theirs and say, I think he's got a good point. So I can understand that. I didn't see where that was coming from.
Right.
But I think it's so much fun, and this makes it fun for us because you have to listen and think and learn so we can share things with our listeners.
I think that's great. And it's such great perspective. There's so many podcasts out there, and that's why we're always saying we're so appreciative of you guys for listening to this one. It's obviously the two Longhorn legends in Mack Brown and Vince Young. And one more thing before we go, I do want to give another big congratulations for Mack, Jack, and McConaughey this year. You guys continue to do amazing work. You've raised in 14 or 15 years, you've raised more than $90 million for your charities, $12 million this year. You have to be so proud of what y'all have created and continue to use throughout the community of Austin to help people who need it.
Yeah, the state's been unbelievable. There's 5 charities, and this 3 nights, really 2 nights, empowers young people who are sick or don't have enough money to do what they need to do, and it's the Rise School of Austin.
Mhm.
It's Heart Gift, changing heart, saving lives across the world. It's Cure to Shin, which is an awful muscular disease with young men, and they were living till their late teens. Now they're living till their late 20s from research of MJM. It's Dell Children's Hospital, which we all love. They do so much for not only our community, but our state and our country. And with after-school programs that Matthew and his team have put together in New Orleans and Austin and L.A., all have helped kids. And you don't know how many lives you save. You change a bunch, but you save a lot more lives than you think you do when you reach out and help people. And thank you all who have given so much. Oh, my gosh, it's been overwhelming. And Jelly Roll was there, and he was fun, and Jack and friends. I'd recruit Jelly Roll as a guard. He's running across the stage and jumping up on those speakers and singing. I said,
High
that looks
energy,
like
boy. Yes, he
that looks
did.
like Stuttered, didn't it? We'd have Stuttered up there doing that stuff. So, but thank you for asking. It's each year it's been a blessing, and now we head to 15.
I know you talk about we look for certain guests to be on the podcast. We obviously love to get Matthew on at some point, love to get Jack on at some point, but we need to get Casey Studdard on the podcast at some point too.
Well, we do, but we'd have to have a
the delay button.
we
ready.
have to have the delay button
Yeah,
for
buddy.
sure, because he just thinks that's the way people
You're
talk.
gonna have to be ready for that, boy. You're gonna
Yeah,
have to have it.
we would have locker room talk on the podcast, and it would have to be monitored for children.
I love it. I love it. It's so good. Listen, guys, we have a blast doing this podcast. If you can't tell, we always appreciate you listening. Send us those questions at the Stampede UT. We're going to get to questions over the next few weeks that you guys send in. You guys have asked so many good questions at this point, and we'll continue to get into those and everything that's going on in the college football world. For Vince Young and for Mack Brown, I'm Bob Ballou. We always appreciate you listening to the Stampede, a podcast on the Texas Longhorns. We'll see you next week.